Hi and welcome back to my channel. My name is Angelica, or otherwise known as Always Authentic. Today I have a video going over some ways that I like to think of the pricing strategy when it comes to my short-term rental. I have a very interesting story to share with you all. As always, like, share, subscribe, and let's get into the video. There are so many aspects of the Airbnb business that you have to pay attention to in order to make sure that you stay on top. One of those things that is really important that you take some time to start to learn how these things are working and what it may entail is going to be your pricing strategy. When I say pricing strategy, what comes to mind for me, how much are you charging per night? How often are you getting bookings? Who are the people that are booking from you, right? Like you want to make sure that you understand who are your guests. This way you're best able to help determine what is going to be the most realistic expectation to ask for this nightly rate, right? Especially when it comes to business longevity. And when I say business longevity, you for certain can just skyrocket the price. However, something that you want to take into consideration is you may get bookings, but is your place really worth that amount of money? People will leave reviews, and reviews are a really big part of how you will grow your business. And if you're charging something that is X amount, but really it's worth Y amount, that's going to quickly reflect on your ratings and on your stay as well. So it's something that you want to be mindful of, that you're being honest with yourself and not just in it for the cash, right? Of course, that's definitely one of the reasons we do it, why we get involved. Obviously, it's a business. We want to make sure that we're lucrative. However, in a realistic way. When I say think about the different types of guests that you're going to have, I want to talk about a recent example from one of my guests, rather, should I say a few of my guests that had said something to me that kind of just went right over my head and I didn't pay attention. And this was a open opportunity for me to seek more, not only for the guests, for myself, but for the business and its growth. A guest messaged me recently who they were coming here for a graduation for their son. They had a couple of questions. As I've been kind of strategizing on different ways to provide that authentic experience for my guests, reflecting on this particular guest, I thought to myself, okay, they're giving me information up front. They're letting me know that they're coming here for a graduation. Got it. So maybe I can provide some type of unique experience, personalized experience for these guests so that they can have something that was memorable, to not just necessarily remember the graduation of their child, but maybe the place that they stayed at. I don't think that that's too much of an ask, or at least something to strive for. I've been thinking of a few different things, and something that's come to mind for me is just decorations, right? So I'm thinking about putting up, maybe some type of a graduation banner. I've thought about potentially getting some specific school gear. I know that some are from Providence College, Johnson and Wales, Brown. Everyone who's staying in a month time span is all here for graduations from various schools throughout Rhode Island. So I think that this is an opportunity for me to be able to create a unique experience and get experience myself in decorating for graduations and seeing what different types of ideas I have. I've thought about getting cupcakes and with the school colors, and it can obviously get more personalized and something that's important. And I definitely want to shout out a book called Unreasonable Hospitality. This book has provided so much perspective for me. It's a little off subject because the author of the book is essentially within the restaurant business, and he speaks in his perspective from that way. However, this book is completely relative to everyone and anyone who's in business, because it really just gives you different examples and things to keep in mind when you're thinking about hospitality, when you're thinking about care for your customer in whatever capacity that may be. It helped me kind of broaden and expand my thought process on how I can show up for my guests more. Now, kind of going a bit off tangent on the price strategy here, but I think that this is very important information on different ways that you want to start thinking about the business and really going to stand out to those guests, to your clients. And I bring this up because I didn't recognize this. I've had guests from as early as December of last year who have mentioned a graduation, all within this time span. And I wasn't being intentional with reading the messages and putting those pieces together. This is why it's important that you have a solid system to make sure that you're maximizing each and every opportunity. When it comes to the pricing strategy aspect of this whole story, you want to take advantage of the opportunities when they arise. If you know that month X is going to be busy, you want to make sure that you're taking advantage of that. You're looking at your competitors. You're seeing what weekends, what days are going to be busier. Who are the types of people who are going to be visiting for what type of event? What can you provide that those types of people are interested in, so you can capture that ahead of time. And going hand in hand with making sure that you provide a good experience. The guests that I have coming are all first-time guests of Authentic Stays. Providing this experience will just bring me closer to them repeating, right? Giving them an experience that is memorable, definitely giving myself a great opportunity that they will come again. All of this talk about pricing strategy is really boiled down to wanting to make sure that we are maximizing every opportunity. That being said, definitely want to hear your guys' thoughts, experience what you personally do to keep up with your pricing strategy. I know a lot of people use different resources. I've looked into them personally in the past. Please share what your experience has been with them and how that's impacted your business. If you're self-managing your price strategy, please share what have been some good tips and tricks on how you've gone about selecting that, changing, and preparing for future terms. So share all of that. Definitely love to hear it. Anytime these types of situations happen, I really love looking at it from the perspective of how has this helped me? What have I learned from this? There's something to learn from every experience. Definitely felt as though it was important to share. We're all just doing our absolute best to figure it out, and that's what counts the most.